And for those that have a role model like mine, Jesus Christ, come over. What's up, y'all? Are you guys good? Welcome to Rumbi Uncensored. It's actually a blessed weekend, but we need to still have conversations as a lot is happening in the background. Come over, guys. And I tell you, I hope you guys are praying. Okay, so if it's your first time to pass through this channel, I'm going to ask you to subscribe. Make sure that you ring the bell because the bell is so important. Every time I'm live, you'll be notified immediately. I brought a bit of a statement today for a reason. It's Easter. So yeah, and yellow again. Yellow is for freedom. We're still all pursuing freedom, right? In Zimbabwe, we say we want our freedom like yesterday. So guys, come, let's have a conversation. All right. You have seen the topic, Nelson Chamisa, live stream. Nelson Chamisa plan to revolutionize Zimbabwe, avoiding past mistakes. And you know, there's been a lot really, people been saying a lot of mistakes. But yeah, here we are. What can we do? Introduction, please, quick. Let's have a look and see what's going on Twitter. Don't forget to like the live so that we can move. Rom, good to see you. So that we can push algorithm. Other people need to join us to have a conversation. Let me have a look and see what's going on Twitter. Good to see everybody. Flavor, good to see you. I'm your crushes too. Bless you, everybody. Bless you. It's a beautiful and a blessed weekend. It's Easter time. So yeah, we all blessed and excited. Happy really to see what's going to be happening, what God is in store for us. So let's see who is trending right now. Quite interesting. Of course, Nelson Chamisa is trending. And you know why we're going to be looking into why Nelson Chamisa is trending? It's all because of the conversation that Dara had with David Quartet on HSTV when they were discussing about what truly happened inside Triple C that caused such a chaos. So we're going to be looking at some of the clips that he dropped on that interview. Very important, and try to see how we can kind of analyzing them and come up with a lot of solutions moving forward. Because that's where we are now. We need to move forward. By the way, congratulations to Liberia. No, that's not Liberia. That is Senegal. Senegal again. You know it's in Africa. So these are our brothers. Senegal. Yeah. I thought I was jealous then that day, but I'm actually very, very jealous now because because Senegal are free. Senegalese are free, guys. They've got a new president, a very young one. Very young president, actually 44 years old. Imagine we were the one that was supposed to have a younger president last year at the age of 45. Unfortunately, you know what happened? They grabbed this whole thing here. And now here we are, still in pursuit of having our Chamisa at the forefront. It's a fact. We're still on the mission to make sure we have Chamisa in the State House. Now, what we're going to do right now is to listen to the president of Liberia. You also remember Liberia, right? That Liberia was one of a country that, the same SADC, chair, that was Dr. Mumber. He also still preceding the elections in Liberia. They said they were actually peaceful elections, free, fair, and credible. And you saw that president hailing. Now I didn't know that the same challenges that we have in Zimbabwe, Liberia was facing the very same challenges. You know, people are looting money, buying houses out of the country. They never fix hospitals. So let's listen to him because he's saying the same things that we are crying in Zimbabwe. What's wrong with these old revolution, guys? We seems like we are being blackmailed. You know the liberation blackmail. I'm not going to go on liberation blackmail. And the person that like to spew such kind of toxicity is always Mr. Mchangwa. So let's take a listen to the president of Liberia. Saying exactly the same thing that I'm saying here. Okay.
Look at Liberia today. Where are the clinics? Where are the schools? Where are the streets? Where are the roads? Not because we couldn't build them, but the monies have been diverted to individuals. And what are these individuals? They go outside the country, they buy houses, but the country that they make the money from, they are afraid to use the money there. So they go out, they forget that there are hundreds of children here that are not going to school. There are no medical. I have a very close friend now who is sick in Foya. He could have been brought here by helicopter, but where the corruption is a poison. Whatever it touches, it destroys. It deprives people from having good roads. It deprives others from having good medical facilities. You're always wishing to go elsewhere when you can have it right here. That's what corruption does. It destroys a nation. It makes people become disrespected because people think we are a country living on handout when we shouldn't be. Look at Liberia today. Where are the clinics? Where are the schools? Where are the streets? Where are the roads? Not because we couldn't build them, but the monies have been diverted to individuals. And what are these individuals? They go outside the country, they buy houses, but the country...
If you had exactly what's going on in Zimbabwe, money is being looted daily in and out. And the country is suffering. People are suffering. We don't have roads. It's a mess. Hospitals, no medication in hospitals. You know, it is actually heartbreaking. Sometimes you ask our questions to say, what do people really want? What do they want? Do they want us dead? What level of greed can that be? That you keep collecting, collecting, and collecting. When are you going to stop? I don't think they're ready to stop anytime soon. Because they even borrow money. After borrowing money, they loot the same money that they've borrowed. So they literally borrow money for themselves to steal. That's how bad it is. It's very sad. It is very sad. But I'm happy that Liberia, they're out of that predicament. At least they've got a good president now. You can hear him speaking. I pray that he's going to be able to revamp that space. But sir, please go after all the monies that are overseas. Go after them and bring all that money to fix the country. We are getting there. We'll get there soon, where we collect all our monies that have been looted in the country. But you also know that for the president, congratulations of Senegal. As Zimbabwe hasn't sent out a congratulations message, we have seen South Africa did, we saw Tanzania did, but Zimbabwe today, they have never. I guess because it's a young person. So they might have sent out a message to, actually was responding to Nick Mangwana. She said, is Zimbabwe also going to congratulate President-elect Bassirou Diomaye, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it properly, please bless me, Faye of the Senegal on his historic electoral victory? Are we going to applaud their robust state institutions for respecting the will of the people? Would there be an acknowledgement of the Senegalese citizens and a relenting quest for change despite the odds? We need new leaders. I agree. I agree. We exactly in the same predicament like Senegal. And no, thank God, Senegal had incredible judiciary that stood by the people. And I'm going to get into that story when I cover Tagwire hailing Wikino Shivaya. And it says Zimbabweans leave Wikino Shivaya alone. I said, because we know you're behind all these monies. We know. And you are the people that are keeping us at ransom in the country, in poverty. Why are you looting in the name of God? I'm going to be looking at that story this afternoon. It is very sad. It's very sad, but it is a fact. Why aren't you? Because it's a young person that is a leader. Now we move on to the issue of, they are simply speculations. Some are saying that ZANU PF may have an agenda to change the constitution, that people won't be voting for a president because ZANU PF knows that they do not have no support, but rather parliament votes for president. It may make a bit of sense because don't forget that they recalled most of opposition members of parliament. So majority of people in parliament now are ZANU PF. You know, also saw with the help of Sengezo Shamango that they had to get some few guys in the Senate, which includes him. Sengezo is also a Senate. That can show you the level of deception that's going on in the country, at the level of evil. I love to use the word evil. I'll tell you why I love to use the word evil, because it is evil. People want to say, oh no, this is dictatorship. It's not dictatorship. It's simply evil. I don't like words that conceal wrong. I'll call things as they are. So there's a message that Hope will send out, which actually backing up what I'm telling you now. So it said the proposed constitutional changes to the electoral law under the pretext of including opposition suggestions from the last parliament are a precursor for the massive changes that ZANU PF wants implemented. A very senior government officials told me that the ZANU PF government is considering a constitutional amendment to remove the direct election of a president, opting instead for the South African system where parliament will elect the president. Okay. This means the party with the most number of MPs gets to take the presidency. This move is clearly driven by the realization that ZANU PF presidential candidates have struggled in the last 6 elections, while their MPs have performed much better than them. Who will defend the current constitutional arrangements, and how will they do it? The opposition parliamentary candidates have struggled in the last 3 elections, while the opposition presidential candidate has been more popular than the parliamentary candidates. A similar change has happened in the Togo, where the dictator changed the constitution from a direct presidential election to one where the members of parliament elect the president. The senior government official said this change will remove the Bora Musango phenomenon, where ZANU PF parliamentary candidates focus on their re-election and let the president work for his own victory. Oh, quite interesting there. So what he's actually alleging is that, or speculating, is that he spoke to someone from ZANU PF. Is that what they call counterintelligence, where they spread something so that they hear the reaction of the people? What are you guys going to say? If you hear that ZANU PF is planning to change the constitution so that it can suit the incumbent, how are they going to do it? By making sure that citizens are no longer voting for a president, but rather parliament. But don't forget the majority of the opposition MPs were recalled. So which means it's just like they're doing as a please. I've told you last time, I've told you before, I said, because I'm a spiritual teacher, so I don't see things from an academia point. I've realized that the academia is oppressive, is limited. People are so thinking within the parameters of a box, and I cannot do it. I think outside of the box. And I'm a person who exalts principles more than anything. One thing that I know is if they keep on abusing people, something is going to give. Unfortunately, it is what it is. Something's going to give. It's one and the same thing that we must just be regarded as nothing and just look at them doing what they want, going in and come back, while us Zimbabweans just watch. That's what I'm saying here. So who are we in the country? We don't mean nothing. Our votes don't matter. We vote, they do all their violence, they get away with it. You know, the following vote again, they come in the rig election, they get away with it. We move again. So it means all of us Zimbabweans, we don't have to leave. We need to leave the country. They must just do what they want. They loot everything to Detnema Komba across the country with their friends. Their friends will come in, build a parliament, and what do? They recall those that they don't want. They put their own people that they want. Are you guys, is this a joke or what? Is this a joke? Is this a joke or what? One thing I've realized is that Zimbabweans don't fear God. They do not fear God. They do not, I don't think they even know that there's one who can make a decision that can turn that country around or come in and wipe the whole nation. They don't even see that God can do it. They don't know he can do it because he's able of doing anything. The level of disrespect has reached, is actually, yeah. The level of disrespect is too much in this place. All right, but Tonio, that is the journalist for TechMag, you know, TechMag TV, he responded, he said, according to my high intel sources. So he's also talking, he's responding to Hope Watching. He said, the real motive behind this move is not to make the ZANU PF president relax during campaigns and get victory from his MPs. No, the real motive is to block Nelson Chamisa, who is the way popular than all his MPs from securing presidency. He has higher chances fighting ZANU PF even as an independent candidate. In fact, they say they don't want to see him on the next presidential ballot and will keep frustrating and push him away. Wow. When I'm sitting, I've been asking God, I said, are you testing me? Are you testing me? Because whenever I'm face to face with someone who thinks they can do what they want with my life, you know, it's one thing for a person to make a mistake. Yeah, you can do me wrong by mistake. You know, because like any person can make mistakes. All of us, we're prone to make mistakes, even I, right? But it's another thing. When you spend your time scheming against my life, get this right, scheming against my purpose, against my destiny. That's what these people are doing. They're scheming against Zimbabwe's destiny. They've decided that no one should live in Zimbabwe. You do as they want. So they tell you if they want you to breathe, they say breathe or don't. They'll tell you if they want to give you. So what they do is they're starving all these judiciary guys. You look at members of parliament, they give them peanuts. For 5 years, they'll be getting peanuts. Then closer to the election, they said we are giving you a loan. And then they're dropping you 500,000 years. This is almost 7 million rands. They say we are borrowing you the money. Knowing well that you can't afford, what they're doing is buying you to do their dirty work. When are Zimbabweans going to wake up? When are we going to wake up and realize that we are being abused and used, disrespected by these people? When are we going to wake up and realize that we are being abused? We need to use the right words and stop pretending like things are okay. Things are not okay. Guys, people voted last election. What happened after all? Oh, us moving left, right, and pillar to post means absolutely nothing. They do as they please. And they come back, they begin to give you some small little cars, Aqua, Mercedes-Benz. You think, oh my God, jumping up and down. What do? You come and sing for them, dancing for them. In return, they steal your destiny, the future of your children. Your kids will be suffering because you got a Mercedes-Benz, a liability. Because what is changed. They've been looting resources in the country. 15 billion US dollars disappeared just like that. I'm saying 15 billion US dollars disappeared. How much money has been looted in the country? And billions of billions. Every year they're saying billions of US dollars, it's being lost through financial illicit flows every year. And what do people do? You come back and twerk and dance for them. Like that mama who is twerking for a car. You're begging for these people. That's what they want. It's abuse. To me, I think that's absolutely satanic and wickedness. It's diabolical. It's demonic. It's evil. Call things as they are. It's evil. This is why I'm saying this time of Easter, Zimbabweans need to be honest. Zimbabweans need to start looking at each other and say, hey, it's time for us to be honest. The evil that's going down in the country, if we don't stop it, it will come with heavy consequences. It will. Unfortunately, when God curses the land, even if you're not wrong, you can also be caught in the crossfire. That's why we need to stand for what's right all the time. We are becoming a useless community. No development. What are we living for? Hating each other. So if God wants to wipe the entire nation, he does it because what are we living for? Because we are simply hating each other, destroying one another. What are we doing? Look at social media today. People are just fighting. We saw some are being bought phones. And they even say that we are being given phones to Rakashalan. What is that supposed to mean? Other countries are discussing about AI. They're having meetings of how they can build their nations. We are spending our time fighting all that. Like it's sad and embarrassing. It's disgusting. Now, Nelson Chamisa is clear. He said, my heart, my vision, and my mandate is to radically transform Zimbabwe into a fully development and advanced modern nation. This so that the citizens can live in a democratic and great republic that is more diverse, united, safe, free, just, tolerant, peaceful, and sustainably prosperous. Accelerated transformation. That's where we're heading. One thing that I've learned is this power in words. Is when someone speaks negative, what do? You counter that with a positive. Zimbabweans, we need to know that first of all, we deserve to live in a peaceful, loving, caring, successful, prosperity, posterity nation. We need to start knowing that we deserve a better life. We are bigger than the abuse that we are facing daily from the devilish of this country. There are men and women who have decided that they keep our people in poverty for actually foolishness. They are shackled. Because I don't find any reason you should loot resources and put in another country. And still walking in the street where there's dust road, you are still driving on potholes. To me, you're shackled. You have no clue of what success is. Because a wiser person is when you work, you invest in your place, you want to see clean buildings, you want to see actually well-paved roads. You don't want how many accidents are we witnessing today? because the roads are messed up, right? So many questions have been asked about Citizen Coalition for Change, you know, which we know that that was where Chamisa was before he resigned. So many questions. What really transpired? Because we know we've heard a lot, but there's two questions on the table. What transpired? Nobody was willing to come and say much. Chamisa also didn't say a lot. He just resigned, sent out his letters, you know, stating his reasons. But people were still expecting him to speak. Why did you walk away from this party? But I love the fact that our Deft Quarter tried to explain so that we understand why are we in this predicament? Why are we here? What truly happened? What really happened? So I want you guys to take a listen to Deft Quarter explaining some of the things that went down there. And it's also clearing that it's actually not the fault of Chamisa, neither does he think it's the fault of Tendai Bitu or Washmingwe. This is Deft Quarter. These are not my words. So let's listen to him, please.
I'm a fervent believer in something called prefiguration. Prefiguration is the theory that holds that any entity which desires to bring about a democratic order must be democratic itself. It appears logical. There may be stages in any struggle for democracy where you can't be completely open in that, because there will be tyrannical forces arrayed against you that will exploit any democratic structures that you have. And to that extent, I understood the necessity for a short time of what is called strategic ambiguity. However, and this is the big however, I've always understood that that couldn't carry on indefinitely, that it was critically important for the CCC to have a democratic constitution and to have policies laid out in a manifesto that reflected its democratic ideals. And my view is that we were tardy in those two things. Looking to the future, I believe that any genuine political party, genuine democratic political party, if it wishes to replace the current order of tyranny, needs to have those two critical elements as part of its structure. It needs a democratic constitution, and it needs policies that reflect democratic ideals. We now have 4.5 years until the next general election in this country, and that's the challenge for all people who have embraced the national constitution, embraced it in letter and spirit. And it doesn't matter whether you are ZAPU or CCC, any of its factions, or some new entity. We cannot hope to defeat ZANU PF if we don't embrace coming back to that notion of prefiguration. We have to embrace that. We need to do it wisely. We need to do it in a way that doesn't lay us open to these unscrupulous and illegal attacks. But ultimately, we cannot hope for a democratic country to emerge if we don't have a democratic, transparent organization that is going to usher in that new dawn. We need to develop a broad consensus about how democratic parties are run. And then secondly, we need to use this time to agree on what policies we will implement right across the board. We need to be having debates. And my hope is that if we reach agreement on those two issues, that will act to coalesce disparate forces, that they will unite around those two things. But we have to move away from ethnically based politics, personality based politics. We will only achieve true unity if we unite around ideas rather than individuals or tribes or racial groups. That's where the future lies.
Okay, he's saying something really powerful. Ideas are very important. Unfortunately, I think there's one thing that people don't realize is that our country is not normal. So when a country is not normal, you can't even talk about ideas before you talk of freedom. It's like, let's take an example of someone who's in an abusive relationship. Let's say a marriage. You've been abusive for too long. Whether you're a man or woman, you've been abused, because there are also women who are very abusive. So it's both ways. You either be a man who's abused or a woman who is abused. And the first thing that needs to be considered is freedom. So before you talk about all these plans, ideas, it doesn't work. One thing that you need to secure is your freedom, because you can only think right when you are when you're sane in your mind. Where we are today, Zimbabweans, we are shackled. I don't know why people are not willing to tell the truth. We are like we're in prison. All we are crying for is to be free first. Then when we are free, we can start talking about ideas. And that's just my take. I do not care what people think or say. It's easier to say, let's talk about ideas when you know that you are really okay. But look at Chamisa. This man has been surrounded for a long time. There's no move that it doesn't take that they don't wish to destroy. Whether who is working with, they don't want to destroy the relationship. Look what happened between him and Scala. Those guys were very close. But look what happened. Look what happened. This is one of the reasons why I will stick with Chamisa to the end. And I mean it. I'm not going to back up. I've never met him. He doesn't even know me. For all information, he doesn't even know me. Maybe he knows me, I don't know. Because my videos are out there. But I'll stick with this man. Because anytime when someone is being abused, I will protect them to the end. I will pray for them. I will make sure that God protects them. That's who I am. I'm sticking with Chamisa because he gets abused by people. If Zimbabwe was having a very clean political ground, yes, I understand that we can talk of ideas. We can't compare ourselves to South Africa. South Africans are talking of ideas, but Zimbabwe is different. South Africans are talking of ideas. You'll be shocked. Peacefully and with classy, young people are sitting and discuss of AI. But how on earth are we going to talk of moving forward when we are shackled? There's no move that you don't make that they don't wish to destroy. So how do you build a country like that? If what they want is you do what we want, we abuse you, we take everything. All their focus on is taking. Right? But right now, they can't even have no money. And you can tell me a country can go for decades without its own currency, a strong currency. I'm not talking about my paper, my bond. I even heard that now they've printed $1,000 bond. Right? $1,000 bond. My point is, you tell me we can't have our own strong currency like we used to do with the dollar? You know, our dollar was the strongest currency in Africa. We can't do that with all the minerals that we have. Or there are people, because of the looting, they would rather keep entire Zimbabwe at ransom so that they can keep on looting, because there's this exchange of money, the dollar versus all these shenanigans. It's sad. Zimbabwe is it's a heartbreaking story. Unfortunately, it's a story that people do not want to discuss. Majority are tired. But honestly, if you would truly want to have a genuine and authentic conversation, what is being done in the country is the highest form of evil that any person can ever be able to think about. You can't even begin to fathom that they're doing what they're doing to their own people, their own brothers, their own sisters. The level of greedy is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. You are seeing men are busy thanking a cell phone. Amazango, under normal circumstances, young people are working, they're making their own money, can afford any phone. But you see, men, I'm talking about men who are supposed to be fathers with children, are going on social media thanking a cell phone. Do you understand what I'm talking about here? It's heartbreaking. It's hurtful. It's really, really painful. When I look at those kind of images, I get hurt. Someone's mother had to twerk for a car. She had to twerk like a prostitute to get a car. May God have mercy. Because what's coming for these people is big. It's bigger than what you guys think. They think they are smart. They don't know that the longer you take oppressing people, the longer your consequences. They don't understand that. There are principles that govern life, because life is not governed by or I got someone whom I know, I can abuse, I can send my thugs to harass you or to kill you. That's not the issue. As a matter of fact, who's not going to die? We are all going to go home to be with the Father. Nobody's going to live here forever. We are all going to die. So when you're thinking that killing someone will make you better, you're stupid. You're foolish. In fact, you make their life easier. They won't be like you, who's spending stuck here, greedy, and be fighting for things that you came with nothing and live with nothing. You're foolish. It's poverty mentality. You're shackled by the devil. You don't even know that all the things you are busy fighting for means absolutely nothing. It's sad. Very sad indeed. All right, so like I told you, South Africans are also having the same conversation. Remember, we have got ANC, which is another thorn in the flesh in South Africa. Thorn in people's flesh. They want them gone. Because of this nonsense that's going on between Zimbabwe and South Africa, guys. I don't know what's in the minds of these guys. Because I saw our people, I actually saw a picture that is circulating right now where people are stuck at the border, by a Bedbridge border. Zimbabweans are begging to cross to South Africa. And the police and the army are saying, no, going back to your country. But there are two guys that I'm literally be kind of very close to because they're politicians. The young guys, and they really like pursue politicians. One of them is Mupo Gadaga. I don't know if you guys know him. He's from Venda. He's an incredible young man. He's only 28. He's also going to be running as a president for a political party called Arise. And he was having a conversation with Sizwe Mpofu. You will find out that whatever they are crying for in discussing is exactly what we are going through in Zimbabwe. So our challenges are similar. The difference is South Africans can have real conversations in a peaceful way and strategize. Whereas us, we are still fighting for freedom, to be off the hook of these people that does not know how to just love, how to unite our people and make Zimbabwe becoming a home that everybody wants. Imagine kids are running away from Zimbabwe, going to foreign lands because of poverty. And you're looting and you're taking to the foreign lands and they're going there and become slaves. I was asking someone a question. I said, if you guys said you fought for us to be off slavery, are we not enslaved? Because people are still leaving their country, going to this, following the same people that we chase away to go and still take care of them, then still be slaves. I think it was better, like South Africa. White people are still here. People are not slaves as they are slaves, like we are slaves. We said we chase white people. That's what we're saying. We said we chased them out, right? Because they were enslaving us. But we're following them in their countries to be slaves and clean them up when they're sick and washing their panties and everything, you know? So what are you talking about? What are we still not enslaved? We are still slavery. We are still in slavery. It's a fact. And you know what flabbergasted me? You guys, you listen to what Eddie Cross said when he was having an interview with Thadara, Blessed. He mentioned that the reason why Kudata have great success is because he's working with white people. Did you hear him saying that? He's successful because he works with white people. What is that supposed to tell you, y'all? Are we not in a new colonization space? All right, so let's listen to Sizwe and Mpo, please. Their challenge is exactly like ours, but I love the fact that they are having conversation. This is why I'm pushing on Zimbabweans. Let's have conversation. Let's never allow these people to take away our power. We must never allow them. We must never fold. We must never be scared. We must be prepared to fight back. If they try nonsense, we will fight back. If it's the fight that you want, it's the fight that you get, unfortunately.
Democracy as we move forward as a country. On your point about the comforts of incumbency, I fully agree. I mean, again, much as I think the ANC has failed dramatically over the last, certainly 15 years, this is what happens to incumbents. Like 30 years of incumbency in a democracy is unheard of in many places. And so I think part of what's happening is just the effects of being in power for so long and not being able to see outside that bubble. You know, like I said earlier, I know many people in the ANC. I grew up inside the ANC bubble. I have pictures of myself at 2 years old wearing an ANC t-shirt, you know, because both of my parents were active in the ANC at that time. There is so much denial in ANC circles. You wouldn't believe it. Like, there's always an excuse, there's always some external force, there's always some conspiracy that has led us to the point where we are now, and it's never we have failed to govern. And it's really hard to pierce through that. And also, just to say, like, the ANC is a family. Like, it's a very tight-knit family. So when you break from the ANC, you're not just saying, I've changed my political choice. It means now you're not going to Bry's. Some people might not come to your funeral who are like, that's how deep it is, you know? And that's what people need to understand about how deep the ANC goes in so many people's lives. And how hard it is to break from the ANC. As far as fixing our democracy, you know, I think we just need to start from scratch with this thing, honestly. Like, it's
Zimbabwe's the same.
everything from, let's start, like, okay, we have a republic. I think that's fair enough. We keep the fact that we're a republic. And then the age-old question of political philosophy is, if you have a republic, what is the optimal way to constitute that republic? What's the best way to divide power and to divide wealth such that that republic thrives? I literally think we have to go back to that question and just think, like, the way we've constituted ourselves, which is what a constitution is. Some things are working, and some things have progressed, and other things aren't. And I feel like we almost need a constitutional review to go back to questions like you've raised about the electoral system, to go back to things like the 3 tiers of government, do they work? Why do we have these provinces? Why are there 9 and not 3 or 6 or 12?
Yes.
Or do we need them at all? Is the municipal system working? Is it not? What are the powers of national government? Because nobody seems to know who has power to do what, and I think this is part of the problem of a lack of service delivery beyond incompetence. Our constitution is so complex in terms of provincial, national, and local government that no one knows who's, like, you're like, why is there a pothole here? Well, because
This
the
road
national,
belongs to-
yeah, this is the national, so we can't touch the nationals, but the provincial can come in 2 weeks.
And the municipality will-
Then after that, the municipality has to get sign-off from national, and you're like, this doesn't work, people. So we need to think about how we constitute. We need to think about, are there new rights that 30 years has taught us that need to be introduced? And are the current system of rights in the Bill of Rights the optimal mix of rights, you know? Is there a right to money? Is there a right to income?
A right to land.
Is there a right to land that's explicit, you know? Which rights have worked? Which rights need to be rethought? Everything, Parliament. I'm just going through chapters of the Constitution. Is Parliament appropriately... why don't we have real debates in Parliament?
Yes.
How does the president come in? How does he get held accountable? What are the powers of the president? So I think we need to reconstitute South Africa. It's pie in the sky and it's idealistic, but at least when we start these conversations, people start thinking, okay, you know, maybe if we go back to the basics, there's something structurally in the way we've constituted that is holding us back, and I think that's true. And then all the way to, like, the election is happening in you know, a very short period of time from now. There seems to be a mismatch between those who have the resources and those who have the ideas. And I think the donor class in South Africa needs to have a serious conversation with itself, because they keep funding people who don't have the right ideas, and then they have all the money, and then they flood the zone, and then those who have the ideas don't have the money. So, yeah, in some ways, I don't think that there's an offering that's exciting young people, or if there is an offering, it's not readily available enough to crowd out the incumbents. And that is a problem, where people feel like there aren't options. And I'm like, well, there actually are a lot. I mean, we can't say we don't have a lot of options in South Africa, but we don't know about a lot of options. That's probably true.
I mean, that's what you said about the donor class is so important, because I think in that donor class, the first thing we realize is that it's just a few people. And it's just a clique of people. And I think it's so dangerous, because what that means is that we're allowing these people to actually rule the country for a very long time. And I think that definitely needs to change in the way that South Africans understand how to actually go about influencing government. I think America's done very well with their lobbying, and having people in Congress or around Congress rather lobbying for certain policies and certain things, and ensuring that that process is a very open process. And I think in South Africa, we need to develop to that point. But to what you've said about
Can you hear? They're conversing so quietly, calmly, and classy. And, I'm just sitting here because my heart is like, I'm so angry. I'm so angry with the fact that we have such a beautiful country, we have beautiful people, but we can't even have a conversation. Like a nation that we can't converse properly. Kumbo tukana chete, be it social media. It's sad. That's why I've always been standing for my girls, and I'm like, it's hard even for girls to be feminine. Men are struggling, women are becoming aggressive. You know why? Because everyone is angry. Men are aggressive, women are aggressive. You always see fights on social media, fights everywhere, videos circulating, people are just fighting. Because it boils on from the top where the toxicity started, it started spreading to the rest of the nation. Everyone is angry. People are just upset. I'm sitting here, I wanted to be here talking about things that matter, but I have to find myself trying to educate the society and say, guys, communication is important. We need to start talking the truth. And again, not only communicating the truth. Because the problem in Zimbabwe is lies. You like to call them propaganda, too much of lies. You keep promising people things that never happen. You keep lying to the society. Again, I want to agree with what Zikamai said, because I'm going to have to pursue that in the afternoon. Zikamai mentioned about how there's a lot of money that is getting injected during the election time. That's why when they're telling that we have good elections, no, they're just after the money. Did you ever see any election last year? Let's be honest, guys. Was there an election in the country last year? No, but because it's all about collecting the money. They just want the money. Because they are their own donors. People are bringing monies. Forget about, those van EU because they donated when we all see. What about those companies? What about those Chinese people and their friends, the Russians? How much money are they putting on the table? And what happens to the money? They're sharing the money, do whatever they want. That's why it's so important for us to begin to have a conversation. Is this the country that we truly want? And I'm not saying this, I have no hatred for anybody. As a matter of fact, what I'm saying right now is going to free those that are looting and the ones that are suffering. Because both the Zimbabweans, whether they are looting or they're not looting, all of us, we are shackled. There is really no reason for letting people steal all our resources and leave Makomba. My boss knows that who is going to close those Makomba? Achavarwanan. Anavarwanan. Apana baba vekuti vanoti vanhu vanopinda mumba votora chikafu chevana vanosara nenzara. There's no father like that. That is a foolish father. Any father would make sure that no, all my kids are happy, all my kids have eaten, before they talk about neighbors. Am I making sense here? But if the government allow certain things to happen that will keep their people in poverty, to me, it's like something's wrong. Something's very wrong. You see, so the difference is South Africans can have conversation because, things are pumping, life is happening. People can create jobs. Today, we are still fighting for Starlink. We are fighting for internet. Guys, I've been watching. I don't know if you guys can go and check in on YouTube. Do you know the people that are making more money on YouTube are people from the rural areas? I'll tell you why. Because people love to see that lifestyle. People love to watch, that rural lifestyle. People when they're cooking pamoto, machina kumunda. Many people that are making money on YouTube are those ones that are doing those kind of content. My point is, imagine if our rural people had internet and their children are busy taking those videos and post them on YouTube, make money for their parents to buy soap, then for them to carry a bucket of maguava or mango to go to and only to come back with a half bar of soap. Guys, you don't know how people are suffering out there. I talk about things that I saw, that I witnessed, that I know is happening today. I think from the time I was a teenager, Zimbabweans were suffering. Today is worse than the way that I was when we used to be teenagers. We need to start asking ourselves questions. Until the right word has reached the right people, I'll keep speaking. Until the right people have hearing this word, you need to stop what you're doing. You are ruining lives. You're destroying generations. You need to stop. Because there will be consequences. Like I've always been saying, I want them to know that there will be consequences. You can't treat people wrong, mistreating people, abusing people and think that you're just going to get away with it. And then you just leave and everything is working for you. No, you may not pay, but your children will, or your children's children will. That man will kill them with cocaine. Unfortunately, They will look at the monies that you left. All these houses, where to from there? Because you're thinking looting and stealing for your children is success. No, it's a curse. It is not success. Success is teaching your children how to work. That's success. And you must work too. Not looting and trying to play like you're a big person when you're not. Using the church to lie. I'm going to cover that in the evening. I'm so desperate to talk about this. The reason is because it's Easter time. You are in the church, or you confirmed Zimbabwe is a Christian community. But are we behaving like Jesus Christ? No, we're just lying to one another. Some pastors who are claimed to be pastors during the day, in the night they are busy oppressing the same people who comes to church. If a man of God is said that he's praying for someone to have money, knowing well that you are eating with the very same people who are looting so that the husband cannot have a job, you are sick in your head. You're not praying. There's nothing to pray about. Not every problem requires prayers. Some problems just require action. If you guys stop looting resources, Zimbabweans will have access to money, we have access to opportunities, and they'll be able to build their own homes, be able to feed their own kids. They don't need prayers to do so. They don't need prayers. So you are saying, come here, I'll pray for you. No. If my relative phoned me without money for food, I'm not going to be sitting here and saying, let me pray for you. No. I'd rather say, the little that I have, I'm going to make sure we share. Can I send you something? Can I take, if I bought food, can I give you something in my house? I don't need prayer to do so. Praying for who? To come and help. Until the church speaks the truth, because also the church is complicit. Church is compromised. Men of cloth are pretending to be of cloth during the day. In the night, they're deceiving the very same people that come into church and say, call them Papa. Said, munonyadzisa. Munonyadzisa. It's sad and embarrassing. Munonyadzisa. Like, honestly, I'm even more angry with the pastors in Zimbabwe. Like, and honestly, the pastors, some of them are really genuine and authentic, but there are majority of them that are deceiving people in the country, deceiving people. During the day, they're coming and you're all worshiping, rolling a red carpet for them. In the night, they're the very same people who are championing your oppression. They're closing deals with these thugs, making sure that you are suffering, and they're living poshy. They're coming there and they're acting like, you are giving them even your last dollar. They're using God to loot and steal and lie. Time will tell. Don't say we didn't warn you because we've warned you, right? Out of the mouth of the baby, the truth comes out. Remember? Yeah, God can use anybody. You may be just talking to you through me and tell you, He's watching you. He's watching you and He's coming for you. All this arrogance and pride is going to fall. You are going to fall heavily. Time will tell. All right, guys, tell me what you think in the comment section below. Okay, I need to accommodate those that wants me to do a short videos, but I'm going to send quite a number of videos, short, because there are people who have been really begging and say, we are struggling, we don't have too much of data, I understand. So I want to consider you because you're important. I love you as well. Okay, so we're going to be covering this afternoon. We'll be looking at Kudata Gwire defending Wikino Shivayo, which can show you who are behind the money. Easy peasy, easy. So Kudata Gwire does business with the white people, confirmed. And then Kudata Gwire is coming in and is defending, why are you guys talking about Wikino Shivayo? Because Wikino Shivayo is just giving his own money. Hello? Hello? And you are sanctioned. On a Sunday, on the 31st of December, Mr. Tagwire was talking about us getting into Canaan. Is this the Canaan you were talking about? All these recalls that happened in Parliament, was that the Canaan you were referring to? I don't want your Canaan. You better stay with it. So I'm actually going to be discussing that this evening. Very thorough. And I'll bring you videos and audios of what truly happened, what's going on within the corruption space, and who are involved, their dirty hands on these financial illicit flows. Unfortunately, those reports were not done by me, were done by people who have been investigating them for looting. Unfortunately, it's not my fault. We're just talking about what's out there. Unfortunately. I love you all. May God bless you, and may God bless Zimbabwe. Love each other. Please share some love this Easter. And don't forget to praise Jesus. And just say thank you, Jesus. He's my role model. Thank you, Jesus. I love Jesus. I love Jesus. Okay, I'll see you later, guys. Bye for now.